All right, hello, hello. Welcome to the Wednesday Long Open session. Here we are. So today's FOMC day. Later today, obviously. We do have a premium array in here on the daily chart. Sell-side theoretical lows were taken. Price used this little fair value gap and is attacking higher strongly. All right, so generally what I like is this imbalance here, this busy. Which technically kind of overlaps with this CB. That was used previously here as resistance, and now I would expect it to be used as a means of supporting price, but allowing wicks as far as into this busy. So if that inversion for value gap would be the case, I would expect it to run into premium in here. It wouldn't necessarily need to take out the buy side, but yeah, this should or could show a short-term resistance here and send us into this inversion and busy potentially, and then I would expect a further deeper run into it. Nasdaq looks like a similar idea is ongoing. We have this drop since Asia. %50 of this range, there is an CB that could act as a inversion for value up. It left the busy here open. I like to see that. And rallied. So yeah, I mean, potentially targeting anything in here off of this inversion would have been or could have been interesting. Overall, lots of buys liquidity above this high. It feels like. And it also feels like we made some stopping from dropping. So yeah, let's see. I'm technically interested in retracements into those two areas for potential buying opportunities to run up on the daily chart into this inefficiency. The buy liquidity above that high, and maybe this high even could be in the cards. I feel like the lows are being left as they are, and they feel like a trap. All right, so the idea is that the Asian session here formed the sell side of the curve of a market maker buy model, potential market maker buy model. after we made a little bit of stopping from going lower. We already made a low in here. Smart money reversal. We already had a accumulation. This inversion for value gap, beautiful response. At the exact beginning of the long open session, kill zone. And then price rallied nicely higher. I like that. Going above this inversion and into this one here. So right now, what I would expect from price to do reasonably with this particular structure, I would reasonably expect a pullback into this inversion for value gap as far as this BC goes for a measure of discount before some sort of a reload and send it one more time with the second stage of reaccumulation of this fractal here, and possibly smashing through that buy side here. Welcome, my friend. I'm doing all right. Thanks for asking. I'm definitely trying. What is my daily time frame analysis for AQ? And yes, well, I mean, today is FOMC day, so probably the move of the day will be reserved for the PM session. But what I personally think we might see is clearing up those lows on ES. So generally, higher time frame weakness is still, in my opinion, possible. But yeah, we moved lower a lot too, so a bit of retracement higher wouldn't be too chubby. But yeah, I'm more siding with higher time frame lower, and only intraday lower time frames. Bullish ideas are like in terms of scalps, nothing more. Yes, I will, Mr. Nenant Meher 9. So yeah, I mean, by the way, definitely the series right now got into some point where I'm struggling a little bit. I have a severe losing streak ongoing, and I draw the account balance to 49,350 basically. And yeah, I mean, that's not the first time I'm in drawdown, obviously, but But yeah, I need to take it slowly. I need to take it without eager to make it back right away. So may need to sit in drawdown for a couple days, maybe weeks, who knows. But yeah, I'll be trying to follow the rules as best as I can, and it will serve me eventually, I feel like. So we'll see. But comeback is required slowly. Comeback is definitely required. All right, so we also have this 15-minute busy here that overlaps. I mean, generally, if I were higher time frame bullish on this thing, and if I was holding a higher time frame really strong bullish bias, I would be going blindly on this bullish inversion for value gap here. I would be going long there. Stop loss below this busy low, and I would be expecting a hell of a run higher. But yeah, because I'm not necessarily that strongly bullish, I think we may see a little bit of upside potential. Running the buy side is in realm of reasonable, but it's hard to expect much more out of it, I feel like. Therefore, the way I would like to approach this situation is to preferably form some relative equal highs on the 1 minute time frame, and then see a drop into those discount arrays here lower, and that in itself would or could form a small little fractal of a market maker buy model that I could or would be more comfortable using to severely reduce the risk and like allow myself a participation for a scalp. But yeah, I mean today's plan long open session, take it easy, scalps only, AM session 2, FOMC day, so PM session probably the best one to choose. And what I'm doing right now, what I'm watching right now is this potential market maker buy model on the 5-minute time frame, and I'm watching how it's developing as we are going further. So yeah, near term, I'm expecting this area in here to offer a measure of support. If that's the case, then I would be more prompt to expect the price to run into this deep premium of this range. Best case scenario, the buy side liquidity here. But yeah. All right, so I mean, I don't mind if it keeps on going and just keeps on going higher, then I don't really mind anything. Because as I said, I'm not in a rush to do anything with it. If it's not, or if it won't present me exactly what I'm looking for. So basically, ever since this low was formed and this displacement higher followed, we didn't see any retracements into discount that we would reasonably expect, right? So measuring from this low to whatever the high will be of this range, I would expect a retracement into that range to then serve a potential continuation, right? Because so far the order flow looks very, very bullish on the 5 minute here. That might be interesting in here because we got a run on the short-term buy side. We formed some salsa liquidity here. All right, there we go. So we got the rejection here initially. Let's see if we can follow up with a retracement lower off of this. Yeah, I mean, so generally, because it's FOMC day and because I believe FOMC will potentially take a look on those relatively lows on ES, I wouldn't be surprised if they would build up or keep building up some premium ahead of that. Therefore, running higher or taking it above this high, maybe even those equal highs, would or could be like the game plan for their delivery today. But I don't know. That's a master plan that we'll see unfold later, whatever they will do. Whatever happens, happens. Well, I mean, ever since the Asian session, ever since really the 6 p.m. open, price was moving rather clearly, rather nicely on the 5-minute chart. So I hope it won't change into a sloppy market at this moment. But yeah, we are seeing a little bit of a pause in price delivery, not moving much. But generally, well, I mean, this is somewhat interesting area to be in the price structure, because this is technically the area where it could fail, right, and roll over lower. My expectation is that we could possibly set up a retracement, and if these two PD arrays are respected well, then I assume we should see a continuation higher. But I guess that's like the measuring point, how we respect those two inefficiencies here. And they should be really, really well respected, I believe. If it's continuously bullish, that's what I would expect, though. So now we placed some kind of relative equal highs here. I like to see that. And I would love to see a measure of retracement lower into those discount arrays here. And we'll see what's going on there. Yeah, I mean, rather slow price action overall. Well. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of slow. I mean, it's becoming kind of slow. Again, I don't have high hopes overall um, to see a very nice delivery, but yeah, let's give it a chance, right? Unless the idea was to see a potential retracement from around this area to around this area here. So far we are consolidating, not doing much, which is an issue for sure. But yeah, there's no model of mine being presented here. So I'm just waiting, just watching, uh, doing nothing. Nasdaq doing the same, but weaker, feels like. Well, I mean, not much to speak of in terms of like reading the pricing here. Just thanks out this consolidation. It does get a little bit of resistance off of this CB, but yeah, still outlook for a retracement into this discount array here before any significant continuation. Um, so yeah, basically ever since the 3 a.m. started, for the past 30 minutes, price is just stuck inside of this little range here. Did nothing. So it is what it is, I guess. But yeah, I mean, fun fact, I really like the setup that was presented here at the 2 a.m. start. I like this one a lot. Relative equal highs in here. This one lower than this one. Sell side was taken. Inversion. Beautiful entry. Beautiful run on the buy side. And that in itself, that was the model that I'm looking for generally. But in this case, it happened to deliver 1 hour earlier than my operating hours. So when I started to stock a setup, the setup that I was looking for is technically delivered already here. So that makes the odds a little bit lower for me to find another one right away, I feel like. So that's why the measure of consolidation is somewhat reasonable to expect, but nonetheless, the another wave, the another uh, follow-up setup could or would be expected to form around this area if it's continuously bullish and wants to go for that high, which I'm suspecting it may want to do that. So we'll see. But nonetheless, I don't have a setup by any means right now. I'm just watching price, seeing how it develops, but I don't have a setup at the moment. Um, we do have some relative equal lows in here. So yeah, this area is generally smooth and may need to be disrupted, I feel like. So I feel like the idea in price potentially drawing down into it regardless, coupled with some relative equal lows, is enough of an idea to frame a scalp, I would say. Potentially, obviously. But yep. At least that's something that I could watch and observe, because otherwise there is really not much going on at the moment, right? So buy side was taken here at equal highs, and price is rejecting that short term. It does form a volume imbalance in here. All right, so far we take it up into this volume balance and close lower. All right, another run into the buy side liquidity here. That was the first one was based only on the weeks, so placing a body above that would be more meaningful in terms of purging the liquidity here on the buy side. And we are almost approaching a very deep premium of the current range that we are in. Some sort of a suspension block being formed in here. Mhm. Yeah, in that regard, Nasdaq has relatively cool lows on its own here. Buys are taken, buys are taken, buys are taken. Well, really not much is being presented during this session. Really poor consolidated delivery overall. So it's hard to have any strong expectations besides those that I already outlined. Uh, but yeah. Well, Nasdaq on the verge, so let's see if it can poke those relative equal lows. That would be like a small little idea to watch and see and observe. Yes, I would like to see the follow-up with NQ on the downside to clear out those equal lows and into those discount arrays here. But yeah, it's too early to tell whether it wants to do it or not. Yeah, generally a poor consolidated session here with a rather small range overall. So basically from the low to the high of this hourly candles range, we moved barely 10 handles in a very unorganized manner with lots of consolidation, overlapping candles, and little to no imbalances being formed. So it is what it is, I guess. NQ almost approaching those lows. Nice little slide in here. ES is still fighting, resisting the downside. Potential little setup in here. This inversion for valid gap used there to potentially run those equal lows. That's something I would like to see. So yeah, what I would like to see is this inefficiency here. As we touched into the low, it should not breach the consecutive encroachment on the closing basis. It should reject that and run the relative equal lows here. That's what I would expect. Attach and now a run for those equal lows. And ES has its respective equal lows here. All right, so far so good. I like this little touch and then rejection. It should just continue towards the level here. That is just a tape reading exercise, not necessarily a trade advice, but watching this potentially unfold well would be at least something to glean off of this session. That was rather wonky. So yeah, those equal lows in crosshairs on NQ. And that in itself would have been a silver bullet model that I like. That's the model that I look for generally. I prefer when the market conditions are cleaner than this, but nonetheless, he delivered a small little run in here that was generally logical, and yep. So I appreciate that. I still want to see whether ES will follow up and run its own relative equal lows. And if that's the case, Nasdaq could pierce or make a deeper run below those equal lows. That wouldn't be also bad at all. But yep. Yeah, I mean, besides this little scalp in here that, yeah, I would consider, there's really nothing for me to do for this particular session, I feel like. It's just taking its time, consolidating, moving sideways, especially ES, very reluctant to move at all. So yeah, I guess that's fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, generally we poke this low shallowly with a wick, and now we are piercing through that one more time. I would love to see a candle closes below that and a slightly deeper run, maybe like 27,880 level would have been nice. Follow through that. 323 candle here. High, low, higher high. Yes, I mean that's a bearish breaker, that's for sure, by definition. Um, I mean, I guess I know what you are referring to. You are referring to this as a bearish breaker that should lead to run inside of this range here, from this low to this high, and use it as some sort of a market maker sell model here. That doesn't need to unfold completely, right? And yeah, that's definitely like an idea to watch and see and study. But it's also a little bit, I mean, the price is kind of sloppy, so it's kind of hard to expect a very clean market maker model like that, but something to watch and study for sure. It's like 20 handles scalp. That's the only thing that I saw coming on NQ today. I still expect those equal lows potentially being drawn to on ES, but it's a rusty market at the moment. It really doesn't want to move anywhere. So nonetheless, I guess that was a decent practice session today. I did some tape reading. I think that was a fair enough of a session. Uh, Based on what it didn't do much at all. So as far as that goes, I navigated it reasonably well with not engaging. But yeah. Nonetheless, I will try to squeeze the morning session, and we'll see what we get there. Generally on an FOMC day, morning sessions are to be engaged until 10:30, not after that. So we'll see. We'll see what we get there, and yeah, I think that's going to be it for now. And see you guys later. Thanks for watching, though. Kudos to you guys.